Hello, friends. Welcome back. Last minute, late UFC 326 picks. It should be a great card. I will get out of the way early by saying this. Well, that was just a tweaky way I said that, but doesn't matter. Something I want to get out of the way is, unfortunately, tonight, it will be a short Smoky Hours stream. I will be streaming, just not the full event. Probably get through the prelims, maybe a little bit past that, maybe not even fully through the early prelims, specifically, but we will be live at the start. Just got some later plans. I'll tell you about it in a later time. But enough of that. On to the actual card. It should be great. Taking a look at it now, some fights actually got switched around. There were a couple fights that I was looking forward to that actually fell out. But no matter, we're not even going to dwell on them. Let's make some picks. Starting off with Luke Fernandez versus Adolfo Bellato, man. Adolfo Bellato is a dude who actually has an interesting, if you look at the actual Tapology shit, man, has many colors. He has the rainbow, like all the colors of outcomes you could get. I digress. Adolfo Bellato, I think, is actually a very talented fighter. Man, just cannot protect his chin. He does have a bit of a chin, but he gets touched and gets dropped and gets rocked. I do think he's very skilled, though. I think this fight is actually a lot closer than the odds would entail. If you do a little bit of digging into Luke Fernandez's history, man wasn't fighting crazy opponents, but relatively decent dudes compared to him, with a little bit of amateur experience as well. I think Luke Fernandez, also with the grappling, if Adolfo Bellato can't just simply out-grapple Luke Fernandez, I actually think Luke will win. I'll take a chance on some new blood, though, because Adolfo gets touched, Adolfo gets hit. Now, if Adolfo gets touched and Adolfo gets hit, that's the question now, right? How bad will he get hit? Bad enough to finish? Funny enough, I could actually see Luke Fernandez like dropping Adolfo Bellato and then throwing in a sub or something, but actually probably not. He'll just pound him out. Does it happen in the first round? We'll say it happens in the second. Luke Fernandez by KO TKO, round 2. Moving on. Rafael Tobias versus DR Nergoze. Now, DR Nergoze has not had a good start to his UFC career, but man has faced some decent opponents, I would say. Erhan Satibaldiev was he wasn't expected to win that. Brenson Ribeiro, maybe man was expected to knock Brenson Ribeiro out, but I fuck with Brenson Ribeiro, the gorilla. I've actually been hoping. That was a really good win for him as well. That was crazy. I think he got hurt a little bit in that fight. I'm going to go with this man, Rafael Tobias, just because even though Rafael Tobias has been fighting cans, I still think that maybe he'll have a chance. I'm kind of tweaking out with these picks. I think some of them are just a little, like, kind of coin tosses. I kind of think this one is a coin toss. But I'm going to go with Rafael Tobias, and I will say by decision, because I don't know if there's a finish, perhaps. This fight, I think, will actually be quite good. Sumudaerji versus Jesus Aguilar. I'm going with Jesus Aguilar. Jesus Aguilar gets a lot of hate. But, man, this is another thing. I don't think he should be the underdog here. And man's odds are always tweaky, in fact. Lost to Rafael Estevam makes sense. Rafael Estevam's nice. Luis Guerrilla, we know, isn't shit low-key. Stuart Nickel, that wasn't the worst. Mateus Mendonça, that's a good win. This man can put in work. Jesus Aguilar's most dangerous weapons are a big overhand right and a guillotine. When used in combination, like he can hurt you with the right hand and then sink in the guillotine, it's been clipped. I've seen him finish people like that, actually, on some crazy shit. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that to Sumudaerji. So I'm actually going to say Jesus by sub. Does it happen in the first round? Maybe not. Maybe it happens in the third, actually. Maybe late, after a good little scrap, good back and forth. Another good one, Cody Durden versus Nyamjargal Tumendemberol, a.k.a. the Art of Knockout. Mongolian man's. Funny enough for his name being Art of Knockout, most of his wins are by submission, I believe, actually. But man does have heavy hands. Tapology, I actually wasn't even really peeping what Tapology was saying, so I'm fading Tapology for at least... Oh, no, okay, so just one fight that we're kind of fading. But it's pretty close here. This one is going to be a bit of a fade, right? Cody Durden, man. Like, the losses may look bad, but they really aren't the worst. You know, I've seen Cody Durden lose and get finished in fights that he was fighting his ass off in, performing spectacularly, actually. and then he gets caught. He's not even one of those dudes that like necessarily tweaks it and like throws the fight in like some indirect way. He gets caught. Unfortunately, Cody Durden is susceptible to getting caught. Seen that happen many times. Do we give the young buck Nyamjargal a chance? Here's the thing. If Nyamjargal can't wrestle with this man, Cody Durden, I actually think Cody Durden outstrikes Nyamjargal. But I'm just spooked. The recency bias is actually having an effect on me. Like the Bruno Silva shit was like the biggest case of that. Man was beating Bruno Silva's ass the entire fight, just gets caught by an uppercut from hell all the way at the end. Knocks his mouthpiece out, KOs him. But shit. We'll go with Nyamjargal. But he can't get the finish, I don't think. So we'll say decision. Alberto Montes versus Pretty Ricky Tercios, who I guess has dropped the Pretty moniker. Ricky Tercios, kind of a mini-man. Alberto Montes, I don't remember watching his submission over Carlos Calderon, but decent wins in Combate Global, which actually isn't too crazy. This Ira Lukowski loss is a little suspect, especially because Ira went on to lose, like, I think every single fight he had after that. But maybe just a little hiccup on the way for Alberto Montes in what would otherwise be a flawless career so far. Pretty Ricky, on the other hand, we've seen him kind of get held up, seen him get stopped up. This one again is going to be kind of a coin toss for me, but I will go with this man Alberto Montes, and we'll say by decision. Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. Now, I'm always a guy. Cody Brundage is similar, I think, to Cody Durden. Maybe not as skilled, but I think that, one, I've said this many times, when Cody Brundage fights, a Cody Brundage fight, this applies to both men. Like, literally anything could happen, and crazy shit usually happens. Like, we're talking crazy fouls, a guy gets hurt, something like that. Injured in, like, outside of, like, an immediate combat action. Stuff like that, weird shit goes down. Really weird shit goes down when Cody Brundage fights. So anything could happen here. Dante Johnson did look pretty good in his debut. Mans thought that Cedriquez threw that fight, possibly. I just thought Cedriquez just didn't even fight that shit at all. Most people are going with Dante Johnson by KO TKO. I think he'll try to go out there and get the KO TKO. Maybe I'm just getting swayed, but fuck it. I do think Dante Johnson will win. Will I be rooting for Cody Brundage? Maybe low key, but we will go with Dante Johnson for the pick. This one is going to be kind of the most emotional pick on the card. However, actually, people are showing Cody love. That's what I'm talking about, actually. Cody Garbrandt versus Long Zhao. Long Zhao is pretty good. He is pretty good. Decently well-rounded fighter. Man can grapple if he has to fall back on the grappling. One of these decisions I feel like was a little tweaky, maybe. I don't particularly remember, but the Quang Lee fight was really good. That was a great win for him. Unfortunately, Quang Lee was just one of those dudes who just hasn't seemed to work out for him in the UFC, but I digress. Cody Garbrandt, on the other hand, again, at this point, maybe, the end of his career is closer to the beginning. And I say that with all due respect. Man's just, he's fought his ass off, man, as a record, substantial UFC record alone, His last two losses were against good dudes. Davis and Figueiredo, no one would really say Figgy's a shitty fighter. And that was a good fight, actually. He gave Figgy some work. The grappling, he just got outclassed in, unfortunately. And then Raoni Barcelos was, for the past year, 2 years, actually, really, has just been on a tear, violating people left and right, no matter who they are. So those losses aren't bad to me. I'd actually love for Cody to get a KO here. I think it'll be a nice little performance for him nonetheless, though, if he can stay on the feet. And we'll say decision. A little rematch here, yes. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira 2. I believe in their first match, Bruno Ferreira KO'd him. It was a minute ago. So I think that's what happened. I think Bruno Ferreira won. I might be mistaken. And then I think Bruno Ferreira either after that or before that got knocked out by Miktabek Oralbai, maybe? I don't know. I might be misremembering that. Either way, I think we're going to go with Bruno Ferreira again, by KO TKO. We'll say in round 2, round 1, maybe we do see some big shots from both guys, but round 2, they really start to open up and one dude will get caught. And I do think Bruno Ferreira will be the dude catching, not pitching. Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. We're going to go with Drew Dober here. Unfortunately, I think Michael Johnson, and this is no disrespect to Drew Dober, I think Michael Johnson's like, not fluky, but like ceiling, range. His range of skill on any given night is higher than Drew Dober. It just depends on how he performs. Also, Michael Johnson, kind of a little bit of a double threat with this one in the sense that, one, sometimes man gets caught and loses fights. He doesn't throw them. But two, sometimes man tweaks and then gets caught. Drew Dober bounced back after a tough string of losses, actually, where he got smoked a little bit here and there. Manuel Torres shit was kind of bad. Gene Silva violated him. That was unfortunate. The Nato Moicano shit was crazy, too. Damn, I actually didn't realize how good of a little stretch that this man, Michael Johnson, was on recently. Somewhat recently. Daniel Zellhuber, you see, this win, if the Bobby Green fight never happened, that win would have aged a lot better for me. But that's Daniel Zell shitty, bro. That's Daniel Zell shitty. Do we go with Drew Dober here? Fuck it. Oh, whoa. Yep. Shit's right down the middle. We'll go with Drew Dober just for the power. Round 1 finish. Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Another interesting one. Rob Font has also seen kind of like ups and downs. The win over John Matsumoto. Lost to David Martinez is calm because we know David Martinez is kind of nice. So, I think Corey Sandhagen and, like I said, Figgy, calm losses. You can't really hold those against a man too much. Raul's been on a good tear, looking to make this a 5-fight win streak. Against okay guys, this I think will be the best dude that he's fought outside of Christian Rodriguez. But Raul Rosas has looked like he's been developing nicely, so we'll say by decision. Maybe man gets a submission. I was trying to hit a round there for whatever fucking reason. Maybe man gets a submission in the later rounds, but I'll say Raul Rosas by decision, mainly through grappling. Kyle Barajo versus Renier de Ridder. This is actually probably the hardest fight on the card to pick for me. I've gone back and forth. My initial gut pick, actually, funny enough, is Renier de Ridder. I do think Renier will be a better grappler than Kyle, and I do think the fight will go to the ground. Kyle maybe is a better striker. Maybe. I think a lot of people are really analyzing the Brendan Allen performances between the two, and I mean, against Kyle, like, they grappled recently, and Kyle won, but different fighters, MMA math, all that good stuff. I do kind of lean towards Kyle just for the striking now. Damn, I really don't know. This one is like a straight coin toss to me. I kind of want to see what that apology says. Damn, people really are leaning Barajo, though. You know what? I'm going to go with RDR. And I will say by sub. We'll say maybe it's Spooky, actually. Just different grappling matchup, and RDR has the answer. So, submission in round 2. And on to the main event. Actually, this is kind of my instinctual pick. I never really got off of it. I'm going to go with this man, Max Holloway. I'm also going to go with, actually, the KO TKO. Now, it might happen a little bit later. We'll say round 3. But Charles gets hit. Max is really good at hitting people. It's kind of as simple as that. I think... Granted, Charles obviously could get him to the ground, could sub Max, straight up. But let's see. It's a different Charles Oliveira than the one that originally fought Max Holloway. So it will be hard to really accurately judge and be extremely confident in Max's ability to stay on the feet, but I want to see it happen. I really want to see it happen. Let's see. Does Charles just straight up say, fuck the striking? Like, we're just going to grapple it out? Like... We'll have to see. But I think that is the final pick. Like I said, I will be live at 5:30. Whenever the prelims start, I will be live. We will be watching the early prelims. We'll see how much we get into it because I'm probably going to sign off around 7. So, as always, thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the Smoky Hours Fight Companion. Much love. Big, big. Oh, wasn't even ready to end. Much love. Big kiss.